Welcome everybody to a brand new video. You got Matt here from Nerdthusiast. Today I'm going to be looking at the retro games market and kind of evaluating where the prices are. I did another one of these videos back in August of 2020. So we're going to actually go back and take a look at the same titles I reviewed then. I'm going to add some new titles in this time just to kind of get a ballpark as to where things are. Now just so you guys know, the data that I'm collecting, I'm just using price charting. That's where I'm getting all this information from. And I'm going to be looking at a couple different things. So this time around, just like last time, I'm going to try to look at the more common or mid-tier games. Towards the end, I'm also going to look at some of the harder to find games or rare games, just to get an idea of where that market's at as well. Just a couple things to note real quick. I am using the US versions of these games, and I am using the standard editions. If there was like a special edition, those are actually segmented off differently in price charting, so I'm only looking at the standard edition of these titles. How am I choosing the games? Well, the common games I'm choosing because they're probably going to be the target of players who are coming back into the market or have never been in the market before. So like, for example, somebody picking up a Sega Genesis is likely going to pick up Sonic the Hedgehog 2. That game is going to be on here, so you'll see that soon. I would also say that if you're just looking at the rare or harder to find games, that's not a true indication of how the market is, because like I said in my last video, like the rare or harder to find titles, they're kind of always going to be sought after collectors, so that their value is likely to stay high. So what's happening 9 months later after my last video about the retro game prices? Are they still climbing? Are they starting to go down? Let's take a look. Alright guys, first up we got Super Mario Sunshine on the Nintendo GameCube. Now back in August of 2020, it was going for $60.96 loose and $75 complete in box. As of May 17th, 2021, it's going for $35.19 loose and $43.50 complete in box. This could be for a number of reasons. It is possible that the GameCube's popularity is starting to decline a little bit. I don't think that's the case. I think the most likely right now, GameCube still seems to be pretty much in demand, but I think it had to be because it was re-released on the Nintendo Switch that, it came out in that collection. That's probably what drove the price down, because before that was the only way you could play this game, other than like emulating it, was to actually get the GameCube version. Next up, we got Pokemon Soul Silver for the Nintendo DS. So loose back in August of 2020, this was going for $80. Complete in box was $114.23. As of May 17th, 2021, $117.25 loose, and complete in box is $174.65. So quite a price hike. It's a pretty good increase on the loose side, but definitely the complete in box. You're going to see that as a theme throughout this video. The complete in box price is going to continue to go up in a lot of cases, substantially more than the loose copy. So if you guys have your boxes, don't get rid of them. Don't. The next one is Pokemon Black and White 2. For the Nintendo DS. August 2020, loose copy, $85. Complete in box copy, $94.99. As of May 17th, 2021, a loose copy is $116.20. A complete in box copy is $160.48. So again, substantial increases on the complete in box side, a good increase on the loose side as well. Why did the price go up a lot on the Pokemon game? So this is again a theory. I don't have any facts to cover this, but Pokemon cards have kind of exploded in the past, let's say, 6 to 8 months, somewhere around there. So I think because of that, it's driving the price of the games up. People are like, there's like a whole Pokemon craze happening right now, which I think is really making the other games jump up in value. The other reason I believe it's continuing to jump up in value is that the stock at like retro game stores just, it's still pretty low. People aren't trading in stuff as much as they did before the pandemic. That's still true as far as right now goes today. Next up, we got NCAA Football on PS3. This is the 2014 version. This was going for quite a bit of money. Back in August of 2020, complete in box was $112.75. Loose copies were $105.54. As of May 17th, those have both gone down. Complete in box copy is $74.74, and a loose copy is $71. This probably happened because EA made an announcement in the past few months that they are going to make another college football game. They didn't necessarily say it was going to be like NCAA license, but they did say they're making a new college football game, which probably started to bring the price of this down. I'd imagine that, once a new college football game gets released, you'll probably see the price of that, drop a good chunk more. I don't think it'll be like as cheap as most sports games. I think it'll kind of still be sought after because it was probably like a lower print run since this was the last sports title in like old generation systems. But I would imagine it'll probably go down a bit once a new college football comes out. So those were the games that I covered in my last video, just to kind of give you guys a retrospective on those. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some more common games right now, or at least, the more common mid-tier games in my opinion. The other thing I did is I went back to August of 2020 and I looked at the prices on price charting from then. So I actually have these as a comparison for you as well, even though these weren't in the last video. I feel like I've been saying August 2020 a lot and May 17th, 2021 a lot. So I'm going to stop doing that. What I'm going to just say is August or May. And if I say August, I'm talking about August 2020. If I say May, I'm talking about May 2021. Just so we're on the same page. So Contra for NES, a loose copy like the one I'm holding is $27.47 back in August. Now it's $32.50 in May. A complete in box copy was $99.99 and it now is $200.23. That's a huge increase, $100 increase. This is going to keep happening with complete in box. The complete in box prices are making substantial gains, at least over the past 9 months, where the loose copies have kind of, ebbed and flowed. Like it's not a huge increase. Maybe it increased a little, maybe it lost a little, which is what you're going to see now with Ninja Gaiden. So the loose copy of Ninja Gaiden is down to $11.90 right now. Back in August, it was $12.12. A complete in box copy, however, is now going for $89.08, where before it was going for $62.03. That's an increase of $27.05. So a nice little increase for the complete in box copy of Ninja Gaiden. Then we're going to look at Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which I mentioned was 2 earlier, and I was wrong. I'm sorry. I did mean Sonic the Hedgehog 3. And we're going to look at a standard copy, like the one that I'm holding in my hand, not the cardboard edition. But a loose copy of Sonic the Hedgehog 3 back in August was going for $21.05. Now it's going for $22.15. A complete in box copy was $36.42, and it's now $46.98. So it's up about $10 complete in box. And the loose copy is, up about $1. So, again, you're not seeing a huge difference with the loose copies. Then we have Gears of War 2. So, Gears of War 2, again, this is the limited edition. I'm only talking about the standard edition, not this version of the game. The reason I wanted to I'm looking at an Xbox 360 and a PS3, like kind of common game, is to kind of see where the market's at there, because Xbox 360 and PS3 are probably still some of the least sought after systems, at least between looking at the original Nintendo all the way up to today. Those were probably the two least looked for games on systems as far as right now goes in May of 2021. So Gears of War 2. A loose copy back in August went for $3.25 and it is now going for $3.70. So it's up a little bit. Interestingly enough, the complete in box copy is down to $4.89 from $5.50 back in August, right? It was very little change on both sides. And that little change will continue with Uncharted 2 for PS3. Now, again, we're looking at the standard edition of the game. A loose copy was going for $4.56 back in August, and then in May, it's going for $4.05, so down a little bit. Complete in box back in August was $5.44. It's now down to $4.12. Those markets for Xbox 360 and PS3 specifically, I can't imagine them getting much cheaper than where they're at right now. Like, the fact that they even went down from then to now is surprising to me. If you guys want to start collecting games, I don't need to tell you guys who've been around the block. Probably most people who watch this are already aware. If you want Xbox and PS3 games, you need to get them now, or you truthfully need to start probably like 6 months, a year, maybe even 2 years ago. That really would have been an ideal time for them, because the harder stuff to get on those systems is probably already hard to get. The common stuff you're still going to find, but as time goes on, these systems are going to become more sought after once the people that grew up with them get into like their early 20s. You're going to start seeing the prices of these start to rise. And not for Uncharted 2 and Gears of War 2, those are never going to be like extremely expensive games. Let's be realistic. They made tons and tons of them. They're going to be pretty easy to find. You're going to see the price rise when people want to go back to them, and you'll probably see them dip again after that. That's likely what's going to happen with these titles. Next up is a little bit of an interesting thing to look at. And the reason for that is it's a Nintendo Wii U game. Wii U games are, I would say they're more challenging to find right now than they were previously. I think the system its low point is already beyond us. It's definitely on the rise. And I think that's a lot of that probably has to do with collectors being aware that the system didn't sell that great. Some of the copies of the games are going to be really hard to get. So I think people started collecting for this a lot earlier than typically happens. Like, for example, PS3 and 360, right? Those still are fairly easy to get for the most part. But Wii U games are getting harder to get already. So let's take a look at The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD Edition on the Nintendo Wii. And again, the Wii U. And again, we're looking at just the standard edition here. Back in August, it was going for $20.99 loose, $28 complete in box. In May, it's going for $30.81 loose. So it's up about $10 there. It's going for $33 complete in box. So it's up about $3 there. So not a substantial gain on the complete in box side, which is surprising. And just in case you guys are wondering, why did I pick The Legend of Zelda? I'm trying to find titles that are not being re-released, which is a huge problem with the Wii U, at least as far as obviously Nintendo-made games are getting re-released like crazy. Pikmin 3 came out. They re-released Super Mario Bros. U, Mario Kart 8. I mean, all these things, like basically the best of the best in the Wii U has been released for the most part. That being said, The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD has not been re-released, so that's why I picked this title. I wouldn't be surprised, this year is the 35th year anniversary of Zelda. I wouldn't be surprised if they re-released it before the end of the year, which will probably make the value of the Wii U version go down at least for a bit. And finally, we are going to go and look at some of the rare or harder to find titles. I just picked a few of them from a few different systems. Again, I did want to look at Xbox 360 and PS3 because I feel like those systems, again, are probably some of the least sought after right now. First up, we got Raiden 4. In August, it was going for $24.95 loose, $49.99 complete in box. And as of now, in May, it's $27.53 loose, so it's up a little bit. Complete in box is $50.45, also up a little bit. Not a big change there. So now this is interesting to me because the Xbox versions of games always seem to be the least sought after by collectors for some reason. I'm sure that, there's definitely going to be your diehard Xbox collectors out there. I get that. I totally do. But if you're talking about the general population, I feel like there's less people collecting Xbox games than just about any other system, comparing it to PlayStation or Nintendo. Which to me is odd because, especially if we're looking at the original Xbox, that console was more powerful than its competitors. It was more powerful than the GameCube. It was more powerful than the PS2. And you would think that collectors would want the best version of those games, which most of the time, not all the time, most of the time, was on the original Xbox. If we're talking 360 and PS3, they're probably pretty comparable. Yeah, the PS3 probably outweighed in the graphics department a little bit, depending on the title. But, there were some instances where the game just played like shit on PS3. So it's really a coin flip between PS3 and 360. But anyways, that's my 2 cents on, I guess, my confusion as to why more people don't collect Xbox games. Africa on PS3. This game is clearly getting more known that it's harder to find. Back in August, its value was going for $50 loose. Complete in box was $112.08. In May, it's going for $86 now for a loose copy, so it's up $36. Complete in box is $176.81. If we compare this to Raiden, I would guess that Africa's probably a lot harder to find than Raiden. I'm guessing it had a lower print run than Raiden did. I'm sure that's part of the reason. If you look, on forums and stuff like that, this is definitely one of the hardest to get PS3 games. Outrun 2006, original Xbox. A loose copy is $84.13 back in August, and a complete in box copy was $217.37. In May, A loose copy's actually gone up a few bucks, 90.67, and complete in box is down a little bit to 196.81, but it's still relatively the same. This, I think, is known as a harder to find title in the system, so that value is probably going to stay up there for a while. It might have ebbs and flows where it drops a little bit or goes up a little bit. That's definitely going to be, one of the more sought after titles on the original Xbox. Next up, we got Rule of Rose on PS2. This has been a known game that's been hard to find for like quite a while now, so the prices shouldn't surprise people who are paying attention. A loose copy back in August was going for $186.89. A complete in box copy was $565 back in August of 2020. Now, in May 17th, a loose copy is $323.56. That's a substantial gain for a loose copy. A physical copy that is complete in box is $634.09. So, about about $70, $80 increase on complete in box, but a huge jump on the loose copy. I don't know why that is. That's very interesting to me. That's quite a bit more for a loose copy. It might just be like, a low print run again would be my guess for this. Cubivore for the Nintendo GameCube. Probably one of the strangest games ever made, but a rare game indeed. Back in August, it was going for $194.78 loose, $360.46 complete in box. As far as May 2021 goes, $209.99 loose, $562.31 complete in box. So the loose copy, relatively the same. Complete in box jumped up quite a bit again. Finally, let's look at a title I would definitely love to have in my collection. I don't have one of these. This is Little Samson on the NES. This is, for a long time, this has been known not only to be a great game, but to also be a rare, harder to find title on the NES. A loose copy back in August of 2020, $1,481.50. A complete in box copy was $2,424.31. Now in May, a loose copy is $1,479.90. It's actually down a few dollars, but relatively the same. And then a complete in box copy has jumped up in price to $3,836.47. So, yeah, complete in box, again, making a huge difference. So what's changed since my last video? Not a whole lot. I did mention that I thought the rare or harder to find titles would continue to hold their value or possibly, increase. For the most part, that's true. If we're looking at the common mid-tier games, which I think is the best way to kind of evaluate the market of that system, you're not seeing a lot of change between May of 2021 and August of 2020. You're seeing some slight changes here or there. We're on the verge of people getting vaccinated, people being able to go outside and go to concerts, and do things again. I don't know how many pre-sale notifications I've gotten for concerts over the past few days. I think that's going to change things. Not entirely. I think a lot of people probably, went back and paid a bit more than what they were expecting to get some of their old systems because they had nothing to do during the pandemic. There may be some of those people that just hang on to them a bit longer, put them in the closet. So I think that the supply over the next 6 months to a year is still going to be constrained, but you are going to see that starting to loosen up. The more that people can go out and do things, the less their mind is going to be on video games. And I'm talking about the general population because, if you're watching this, let's be honest, you're probably collecting games. You're probably, thinking about your collection and, maybe you're wondering if you should dump it off or not. And I'm going to tell you now, if you have like an NES collection, a Genesis collection, a Super Nintendo collection, maybe even like the, N64, like GameCube generations, you may want to dump most of your games now if you're in it for the money. I'm only telling you if you're in it for the money, because the rare and harder to find games, maybe you hang on to those, but you maybe dump the rest because the prices of the common games are probably going to start dropping. I'm not saying they're going to start dropping today or tomorrow, but as the supply restraints diminish, the prices are going to start to go down. You're not going to have this again for quite a while. So unless you have a rare or harder to find title and you're looking to make a profit, get rid of your stuff if you have those consoles that I mentioned. If you're a collector and you don't want to get rid of your stuff, get on the PS3 train now. Get on the Xbox 360 train now. I would even say Wii U. Wii U is already getting a little bit harder to find, but go after those systems now, right? Get prepared. Start buying Xbox One and PS4 games now, because those prices are going to keep dropping for a bit. Some of them are still high, but there's a lot of them that are really cheap. So I would even say definitely look at PS3 360. Start looking at Xbox One and PS4 and decide on what you're going to go after. And, I would even say start going after them now. So, you'll have the harder the stuff get. When by the time it catches on with people, you're already ahead of the game. Anyways, guys, those are my 2 cents. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to leave a comment, like, subscribe, share. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, obviously, Twitter, all those things. It's at Nerdthusiast. Also, if you can support us over on Patreon, that would be fantastic. It not only helps support this show, but all the shows that we do. Helps us get new equipment and things like that. You can also get exclusive videos by supporting us over there. So all of our shows have exclusive videos for them each month. Definitely support us. Patreon.com/Nerdthusiast. Thank you so much for watching this video. You guys take care.